I know the idea of water finishing is a rather weird one to think about. I mean, about 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, right? How can it be getting scarce? Where is it going to? Well, we'll find out.
If you sucked up all the water on Earth, it would fit into this sphere. But 97% of it is salty and 2% is trapped in ice at the poles. So all of humankind relies on just 1% of that water to survive.
When people talk about running out of water, what they really mean is, do they have access to that very small percentage?
That 1% of Earth's water that we all rely on, most of it is underground and really difficult and expensive to get to. So humans have mostly settled close to surface water, like rivers and lakes. Around 90% of the world's population lives less than 10 kilometers from a freshwater source.
The thing is, we can't use most of that water because most of it is salt water, meaning it's undrinkable and unusable for even agricultural purposes. 2% of that is being locked up in glaciers, and about 1%, the little we have access to, is being exploited. And it's being tied up in aquifers, which are really hard to get to. And
Cut!
the 1% that we have access to is where the problem arises now. It's like, how do we share that little we actually have access to without it becoming a problem? So where exactly is this going to?
Let's find out.
Bitch, engineering at its motherfucking finest.
It's raining, bitch. It's motherfucking raining. It's motherfucking raining. It's motherfucking raining.
But for you, this is where they actually go to.
And here's where we currently stand. Some estimate that we've consumed or are already using about 50 to 60% of our fresh water, 70% going to agriculture, 22% going to industry, and about 8% is what we consume in our homes. Except remember, we eat the food that agriculture grows and use the things that industry makes. So humans are really doing all of the drinking of the milkshake, so to speak. From start to finish, everyday things all around you have a bigger water footprint than you might imagine. For example, it takes about 140 liters of water to produce 1 cup of coffee, 14,400 liters to produce 1 kilogram of beef, 24,000 liters to produce 1 kilogram of chocolate, and 39,090 liters to produce a new car. Bigger step than you thought, right?
In fact, Cape Town, South Africa was the first major city. In fact, Cape Town, South Africa was the first major city in the world to officially start running low on water in 2017.
Is Taryn's room ready? Okay.
Water restrictions imposed by the city authorities have forced families like the Porters to rethink their relationship with water.
So we stand in the shower in that basin there, and all the water goes in there. First of all, we wet ourselves. Meanwhile, we're switching off the shower all the time, right? So you soap yourself and switch off the shower, okay? And that's only a 2-minute shower. But then we take that water, and that grey water gets used to the toilets. That's why I've taken the top of the toilets off. We flush.
I'm washing my dishes here with this water. Then when I finish washing the dishes, I take this one to wipe the table on this side. Then she's going to take it to her garden. There's no trouble.
I shower like every second morning, and then I'm fine. And then if I feel a bit, then I use wet wipes.
Jesus. Now wash your bum bum. So, are there solutions? For one, we could try desalinating the seawater we have through a process called reverse osmosis, which is basically taking out the H2O from the salt content. The problem with that is that it's really energy intensive and very expensive to build the facilities. And it also produces something they call brine, which is very bad for the environment.
Another concern arises because they're not just outputting clean, desalinated water. They're also producing huge amounts of hyper salty water called brine as a byproduct.
Seawater desalination plants that use reverse osmosis typically operate at a 50% efficiency in that if you take in 2 gallons of seawater, you're going to produce 1 gallon of fresh water and 1 gallon of hypersaline brine.
Globally right now, we're producing over 37 billion gallons a day. Most brine is in one way or another emptied back into the ocean, but because it has a much higher salt concentration than regular seawater, it has the potential to, among other things, sink to the seafloor and wreak havoc on the plants and animals found there. In addition, because these facilities are taking in millions of gallons of seawater a day, the intake itself could destroy local marine life.
The obvious one is just to be like me, and just reduce the time you spend in the shower. Make sure you don't leave the taps open. Reduce the amount of meat you eat, because agriculture takes a lot of water, growing cows and everything. So reducing the amount of meat you eat does help. And also employing better water management techniques in agriculture would also go a long way in helping us solve this problem. That's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, coming to watch your boy, Like, share, subscribe, help the nigga out. We just trying to eat.